Today we pause to honor the brave men and women who gave their lives in service to our country. Their sacrifice is the price of our freedom, and their courage echoes through every moment of our lives. On this Memorial Day, we remember, we thank you, we will never forget. Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to Falls Count Anywhere. I'm your host, the gentleman, Jody Powell, and with me, as always, is my good buddy, the mad scientist, Mike Buchanan, and he's deep in the Buchanan Laboratory. Mike, what's up, buddy?
Not a whole lot, Jody. What's up over there in South Carolina?
Just enjoying this beautiful Memorial Day weekend, and we're going to talk more about that as we honor those who served and paid the ultimate sacrifice for the freedom that we so enjoy here in the United States. And got my special bow tie to commemorate the occasion. So we're going to get to that later on. But Mikey, what everybody wants to know, man, is what's going on in the laboratory? What you got cooking this week?
Well, Jody, it's kind of Memorial Day themed. And we don't talk a whole lot about politics on the show because we don't want to lose all our listeners. But that being said, I'm working on a statue material that is vandalism proof.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I could just slide off and make a mess. Or if somebody tried to pull it over, it just won't budge because there's too much damage done to our history. Because certain people don't like certain other people.
Okay. Maybe a little lack of understanding of what history is all about and what it's there to represent and why it's important to learn it. Mike, those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat the 11th grade.
I don't think most of these people made it to the 11th grade, Jody.
Maybe not. Maybe not, but I got a question for you. This is a really important one. A serious question.
Yeah.
This statue that is vandalism proof.
Yeah.
Is that including the vandalism done by pigeons?
We thought about that, Jody, and then we got a nasty letter from PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, so we had to scratch those ideas.
You can ignore those letters. I mean, if we're going to talk politics, let's talk politics.
We're not talking politics. We're talking WWE.
Never mind then. Hey, let's talk a little WWE, man, because I tell you, Saturday night's main event has already happened. The only problem is it hasn't happened for us at the taping of this show. So we don't know what happened on Saturday night's main event, but I do want to cover a couple of things with the WWE. And I want to start with the World Heavyweight Champion, your favorite and mine, the GOAT. No, I'm just kidding. Jey Uso. Jey Uso, the World Heavyweight Champion. Mike, I've got a problem. And it's not just the fact that Jey Uso is the World Heavyweight Champion. That's a different problem. Okay. Look, I am accepting it. It's their decision, it's their belt. They put it on Jey Uso.
If they want to tarnish it forever, it's not your fault.
I mean, if you want to talk tarnishing a world champion, just look up David Arquette. But anyway, yeah. So this isn't nearly as bad as that. However, Jey Uso is the world heavyweight champion, and I am just not. I'm not happy with the way he's been booked, the way he has been made to look the last few times we've seen him. And again, this is not considering anything that may or may not have happened on Saturday night's main event when he took on Logan Paul, because quite frankly, we don't know the outcome of that because, again, this is taped before that. But what I do know is that on Raw last week, we saw Jey Uso in the ring getting knocked out by Logan Paul. We've seen him a couple of weeks ago having to be rescued by CM Punk and Sami Zayn. We've seen the focus really be on CM Punk and Sami Zayn. And I got to tell you, Mike, I'll be honest with you. I think they're destroying the illusion that Jey Uso could possibly deserve to be the World Heavyweight Champion. And it reminds me of someone else that they did that to.
Weren't you saying The Miz did it? Or they did it to The Miz before?
The Miz, exactly right. When Miz was the champion, he talks about taking on John Cena at WrestleMania, but they booked the Miz to be this whiny little snake in the grass, cheat at all costs, to non-deserving of the world title. No one thought he deserved it. And I thought the Miz at the time could have been built by WWE to be a multiple-time world heavyweight champion. And I know he was, but no one really recognizes that he was. No one really thinks he should have been, and that's not on the Miz, that's on WWE. And I think that's what they're doing to Jey Uso right now. If Jey Uso lost at Saturday Night's Main Event, and I don't know whether he did or he didn't, we've talked about that. Maybe he lost to Logan Paul. Please, I hope not. But if he did, or even if he didn't, let's fast forward to Money in the Bank. Is he going to take on Gunther? Is he going to take on Sami Zayn? Is he going to take on Seth Rollins? We know that a new world champion is coming, and coming pretty quickly. Here's the question I would ask. If Jey Uso loses that world heavyweight championship, does anyone think he deserves it back for a second title reign?
I hope not.
Well, I know you hope not. I get that. But do you think he would deserve it the way he's been built?
Well, forget the way he's been built. He didn't deserve the first one.
That's fair. I mean, that's fair. That's fair. I don't think he deserved to be the Royal Rumble winner. I don't think he deserved to beat Gunther. I agree with all of that, but he did, and that's how they booked him. But I think they're just destroying him. I think they're tearing him. I think they're tearing down his character. I don't think that Jey Uso is going to be a multiple-time world heavyweight champion. I don't think people are going to buy into the fact. I mean, they call him main event Jey Uso. He's not. He's got a catchphrase, and 2 word or 1 word, 2, whatever it is, and everybody sings along with it. But I don't think anybody's buying him as the world heavyweight champion. That's not Jey Uso's fault, just like it wasn't the Miz's fault. It's the fault of WWE. It's how they've really made him look weak. They've made his character look weak. Whether he is or he isn't, he's the world champion, and the world champion should never be billed to be made to look weak.
Now, you mentioned weak champions, and I think you mentioned this at least in passing on one of our previous shows, gentlemen. Gunther has also been made to look weak post-championship. I mean, to have him come out and have Paul try and mouth off to him, it doesn't work.
No.
It doesn't work to have him wrestle Pat McAfee or whatever his jabroni name is. It doesn't work.
No, it did not work at all. That was brutal. Yeah, exactly what's happening to Gunther right now is despicable. I get the feeling they tried to save it a little bit with how Gunther interacted with Logan Paul, kind of luring him in with compliments only to tell him that he would take it personal and he would beat him down and blah, blah, blah. But here's the thing, Mike. You go from Pat McAfee, like you said, I love that. You go from Pat McAfee to Logan Paul. Gunther lost to Jey Uso, and we've already established that probably shouldn't have happened. Then he had to wrestle an announcer. More on that when we get to the WFC. Then you go from that to the YouTuber. When is Gunther going to be able to take on a legitimate, real, professional wrestler and have a great program with him like he's done in the past? You're setting this guy up to be kind of the punchline of a joke. It's not going to be conducive to the future success of Gunther. Although I think Gunther will be able to come out of it, I don't think Jey Uso will. I really don't.
Now, one thought did cross my mind while you were talking about Uso. Everybody's still talking about a mystery third man.
Yeah, the mystery third man. I don't know. Here's the problem. I don't know that it may have been revealed Saturday night. We don't know it yet. I have a prediction. Now if we've established that this is prior to Saturday night's main event, so whatever happens there may completely nullify this, or if I'm right, don't say, you are. No, we haven't seen it yet. I told you last week. You know who I think the third man is? I think the third man is Sami Zayn, and I think he's going to turn on CM Punk in the tag team match with Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker. I think it's perfect timing.
I think it's a bait and switch.
What do you mean?
I mean, they set you up to believe it's going to be Sami, but it'll be somebody else.
I hope not, because that's so disappointing. Like they've set it up very well to be Sami. And if you're going to bait and switch, who are you going to give me? Austin Theory? I know that's who you want. I know it is, Mike.
Yeah, that's it.
Or a returning Rey Mysterio. I know. Let's bring back the Hardy Boys. Yes.
Happy Memorial Day to you. I think we need to pay some bills before somebody says something you'll regret.
Yeah, I think we ought to take a break and come back and talk about the WFC, because there is a lot to unpack there. We'll be back, fans, right after these messages. Hello, wrestling fans. The gentleman Jody Powell here. I believe it is our civic duty as Americans to explore space. So we need to go to Amazon and help Jeff Bezos turn more celebrities into astronauts. And in order to do that, you should go search for this book written by my good buddy Mike Buchanan. Feeling down? Look up. All right, so maybe it's not going to create more astronauts. I mean, are they really astronauts? But what it will do is it'll help Christians walk through this crazy, broken world. Feeling down, look up. Get your copy on Amazon today. Welcome back, wrestling fans, to Falls Count Anywhere. Now it's time to dive into the world of wrestling for Christ. And Mike, I got to be honest with you. This is the first time that we've talked about the WFC that I have kind of been dreading it, considering what happened Saturday night on Saturday Night Praise and Power Hour. The commissioner has finally been revealed, Mike, after months and months of trying to figure out who it was that I've been dealing with, who it was that has been making some decisions that I've questioned, some that I've agreed with, and some that I've just outright disagreed with. Who was it that was kind of formulating this alliance with the foundation? Well, little did I know that the answer was right under my nose, as it was revealed that my wife, the Duchess of Professional Wrestling, is the commissioner of the WFC. And, a lot of people have been asking, especially after what happened there when that revelation was made, because it was made very violently with the foundation and myself. So a lot of people have been asking for my reaction. Well, I'm going to have a full reaction on Saturday night, during Saturday Night Praise and Power Hour, right here on Abundant Television, 6 p.m. this Saturday, fans. You will get a reaction for sure. But let me just go ahead and just say this, because there's been a lot of questions about me and the Duchess and our relationship. Mike, I am incredibly proud of my wife.
You should be.
I should be. Absolutely, I should be. Listen, she has always wanted this. She has always wanted to be involved in professional wrestling. She is a walking wrestling encyclopedia. I don't nickname her the Duchess of Professional Wrestling just for fun. And she saw an opportunity and she went and she took it. Now, I don't have to agree with how she took it. She aligned herself with Dylan Dollar, Travis Roberts. And, what a lot of people don't understand, what a lot of people may not know, is those two guys were friends of ours for a long time, long before this. So, again, it's not surprising that she would look to someone very familiar of the business to kind of be, I guess, her bodyguards is kind of the role that they're playing. Now, let's talk about the slap heard around the world, right? That's kind of what I'm referring to it as. She cold cocked me right in the face. But
she
listen,
hit you with her fist?
Well, it was open-handed slap, but it was still, I was seeing Tweety birds floating around. Listen, here's the deal. Anytime that you work for someone and you're instructed to do something or not to do something, it's probably a pretty good idea to follow that advice. I was told as the voice talent not to lay my hands on the wrestling talent, and I did, and I got reprimanded for it. I mean, she stopped me from doing any damage to the talent because I had every intention of doing damage to the talent. I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with the way she did it. I don't have a problem with what she did. What I have a problem with, Mike, and I'm going to address it more Saturday night, is what happened afterwards when I ate that stunner from Travis Roberts that really was from behind. I mean, it was just out of the blue. It wasn't very it wasn't very straight on. It wasn't, it wasn't the actions of a man. A decent man anyway. Travis Roberts hit me with that stunner, and then Dylan Dollar with that tilt-a-whirl clothesline, and I ate it, and it put me down, man. That's no joke. But I will address the foundation this Saturday.
Speaking of, if you're going to address the foundation, I'm assuming the Duchess will be there.
The Duchess will be there Saturday, and I understand that again, I'm still under strict orders not to put my hands on the wrestling talent.
Are you going to follow Jesus's advice, though?
Am I going to turn the other cheek? Is that what you're asking?
Sure. That's 100% what I'm asking.
Listen, that slap was so hard that I'm not going to turn the other cheek and give her an opportunity to hit the other one. I will have my meeting. For a lack of better terms, Mike, I'll have my come to Jesus opportunity with the foundation. Let's just say that, with or without the Duchess knowledge. And she'll be there. So we'll just have to kind of wait and see. This Saturday, fans, 6 p.m. on Abundant TV, Saturday Night Praise and Power Hour. But enough of that, Mike. Something else happened, man. I'm looking around the studio and the green briefcase is gone.
Who stole it?
Nobody stole it. We finally had the finals of the Television Turmoil tournament.
No, you
didn't. Just the Mad Dog Nathan Sawyer taking on AWOL.
No, you didn't. April Fool's was almost 2 months away now.
No, Scout's honor.
Close enough.
Yeah, something like that. But no, we did had the finals, and it was the Mad Dog Nathan Sawyer picking up the victory, which was great because, in the past, I don't know, gosh, probably last 8 to 10 weeks, Sawyer's been coming up against AWOL a couple of times. And of course, we all know AWOL. We know what AWOL is about. They take every shortcut possible, and whether it's something stuck up inside the mask, or it's a tape fist, or it's a chain, or something, it seemed like AWOL was getting the upper hand on Mad Dog Nathan Sawyer. Well, not Saturday night. Sawyer was able to block the head smash into the turnbuckle that's been exposed. AWOL tried to expose the turnbuckle. And then he stuffed something up in his mask. I don't know if he was going to give him a headbutt and slam him into the exposed turnbuckle or what, but turns out Nathan Sawyer blocked it, slammed AWOL's head into the exposed turnbuckle that hit the foreign object in the mask, knocked him out. 1, 2, 3. Nathan Sawyer wins the green briefcase. And ladies and gentlemen, what's inside the green briefcase was a brand new WFC championship, the Abundant Television Championship belt. And Mad Dog Nathan Sawyer's your new Abundant TV champion for the WFC. And I couldn't think of anyone more deserving or anyone that's going to represent WFC better than the Mad Dog Nathan Sawyer when it comes to the TV title. A lot to talk about there. The WFC's heating up, Mikey. And I don't know what this TV title is going to be like. 10-minute time limit, just like back in the day.
Always on defense and when it's on TV, when the holder's on TV.
Absolutely. I can see Tully Blanchard doing the slingshot suplex now. Oh, boy. Anyway, a lot of going on in the WFC, Mike. It's great. Tune in this Saturday because I guarantee you it's going to be on fire for sure. Well, fans, we're really excited about what's coming up next. After these messages, we're going to have a very special Memorial Day Finding Tomorrow. Stay tuned. We'll be back after this. Wrestling for Christ headed to Maggie Valley Fairgrounds in Maggie Valley, North Carolina, June 14th. Heavy metal Rick Savage will be on the card, and what he's saying is his final wrestling match of his career. This is not something you want to miss. The Spirit of America celebration, live Wrestling for Christ, Maggie Valley, June 14th, bell time at 11 a.m. Be there.
Welcome back, fans of WFC, and especially those of Falls Town Anywhere's Finding Tomorrow. And happy Memorial Day. Like Jody says, we're taping this beforehand, but it will air on Memorial Day. And thank you to all our veterans and their families that may be watching. We really appreciate what you've done to protect our families and our country over the years. Now, we thought we would do something maybe a little bit different on this Finding Tomorrow. Jody and I were talking beforehand in preparation for this. And Jody had told me he had a story that sounded pretty awesome. So I'll let him do that in just a moment. I want to read a verse out of Romans 13. It says, "Give to everyone what you owe them. Pay your taxes and government fees to those who collect them. And pay respect and honor to whom respect and honor are due." And that's what Memorial Day is for the most part. We're trying to honor and respect our military because of what they've done for us. So with that, gentlemen, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Well, thanks, Mike. I love that you brought that verse in because it talks about honor. And I don't think there's anything more honorable than for someone to follow in the footsteps of Jesus. Christ came, Christ lived, Christ died, not for himself, not to self-edify himself. Christ died for you and he died for me. And he did so selflessly. He did so willingly. He did so under the direction of his Father. And, I go back to the Garden of Gethsemane to where Christ said, let this cup pass from me. Listen, he didn't want to go through what he went through, but his wants aside, he willingly did because it was the will of the Father. And I think a lot of times, many times there are young men who are looking for what they want to do, what they need to do in their life. And it's the will of the Father for them to serve in the military. And that takes many forms. For some, it's what you call admin work. For some, it's mechanical work. For some, it's an opportunity to learn things like engineering. And then for others, it's an opportunity to be on the front lines in a conflict. And for a lot, it is the incredible gift to lay down your life for your fellow man. And that gift is not one that we as Americans should take lightly. Mike, I love that you said Happy Memorial Day. And I've actually been chastised for that before in the past. There's nothing happy about remembering is solemn. Let me tell you why I'm happy we have a Memorial Day. I am happy because there are people willing to die for my freedom. And so, yeah, we celebrate them, and we celebrate them with joy in our heart because we are the greatest country in the world, no matter what you say. And we have some of the greatest, bravest individuals who have laid down their life. And I'd like to tell you a quick story about one from my family. His name is Thomas Vesey, Uncle Tommy. He was the Duchess's uncle, my father-in-law's brother. We never met him because he died in World War II. He was the radio man of a crew that was responsible for bombing much of Europe. And he was part of a 7-man crew. And that crew was, and I'm going to say their names, Jacob Bartle, Edwin Brown, Peter Uruski, Everett Hendricks, William Thomas Vesey, Uncle Tommy, Jose Aragon, Louis Tolson, Richard Lavery, and Teddy Joe Ellis. And that crew, called the Bartle crew, as I said, we're on bombing runs over Europe, and they were shot down April 17th, 1945. Now, why is that date significant? Well, it's about 2.5 weeks before the war ended. Now, my father-in-law had very little information about what happened to his brother. All that we were told, or all that they were told, that he was told by the War Department, was that the plane went down somewhere over Czechoslovakia, somewhere they weren't sure, or they weren't willing to share. And they were never recovered. Now, after a while, the remains were recovered. The site was discovered, and he is now buried here stateside. But my father-in-law always had a lot of survivor guilt. He was the younger brother. He followed him into the armed forces. He served in the Navy, but by then the war was over. Of course, Uncle Tommy died just a few weeks before the war ended. Very little was known about what happened to Tommy until my father-in-law was well into his 70s. And out of the blue, he received information from, I believe it was the sister of the pilot. The pilot of that crew was Jacob Bartle, and his sister was able to provide my father with a lot of information about the crew, about the flight, about the plane they were on, the pursuit of happiness when they were shot down over Czechoslovakia. And it turns out there is a gentleman over in that part of the world who was a boy when that plane crashed on his father's property.
Oh. And
Mike, I want you to know that man got in touch with my father-in-law. My father-in-law was well into his 70s at this point. It's been, 40, 50 years of not knowing. This man sent him a book that he had written about that crew.
Wow.
The problem is, it was all in Czechoslovakia, and he couldn't read a word of it. But he still got the book. And amazingly enough, this man and his family built, and we may need to use your product here, they built a statue to honor that crew that crashed on their land. You can't understand any of the words that are on the plaque except for the names. He had all of the names of everyone, including Uncle Tommy's. And so it was very, very much closure for my father-in-law, just literally a few years before he passed. And it's just a heartwarming story to know that there are men and women who willingly went into literal hell to die for us to be able to sit here and talk about wrestling. If there's anything that would make you want to find tomorrow, Mike, I think that's it.
Yeah, and we appreciate you sharing that with us, Jody. I know we're almost out of time, and I'm probably going to take this over because that's the way I am. But,
that's all right. I'll just edit it out.
There you go. Don't edit this out. Edit the invention out. But seriously, Memorial Day can be a hard day. Mm. And we don't, like Jody says, we don't say Happy Memorial Day to minimize anything. I know from places I worked at, people I've seen, Memorial Day can be a hard day for the families. Mm. So as far as truly looking for tomorrow, hoping for tomorrow, if you're having any problems dealing with that, reach out to someone. Survivor's Guilt is a real thing. I think that's the main reason why 22 veterans take their lives every day, and it doesn't need to be that way.
No, it doesn't.
We'll put our email up, and we will put something so you can contact somebody that works with veterans up, so you can reach out to them too.
Yep.
That's it, Jody.
Well said, my friend. And again, I hope you all have had a wonderful day remembering those who gave their life for our country. And I hope you will stay tuned, because coming up next is Chris Whaley, Jeff Dixon on The Clash, right here on Abundant TV.